Welcome back to Open BXRx. Probation officers work to build trust with communities and dismantle barriers, keeping people out of jail and giving many a second chance. Joining us now to discuss how probation officers continue to work through COVID-19 and nationwide protests is Dalvanie Powell, president of the United Probation Officers Association. Dalvanie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today.
The first thing I wanted to do off the jump is define what a probation officer does. It's often confused with parole officers, and I think we want to define that up top.
Well, what probation is the alternative to incarceration, with clearly community correction / supervision. So what probation officers do, when a person gets sentenced, you have two options: the correctional facility or probation. And you hear somebody say, oh, they got sentenced to probation, I think it kind of goes over people's head. So instead of a person getting sentenced and serving time in city jail, they can get sentenced to serve time with probation. They can also, as a felon, as a misdemeanor, and then they also can get time to be sentenced to probation as a felon, serving up to 5 years or more. They can serve a person can be on probation from 3 to 5 or more years as an adult and 6 to 24 months as a youth. The difference between probation and parole also is that probation serves adults and youth that's been convicted of a crime of some sort, whereas parole only deals with adults after they served state time in prison. So probation is about giving people a second chance at life and hoping that they will never go into the criminal justice system and change their lives around.
Right. And speaking of that, Dalvanie, I wanted to ask you, as a Black probation officer, you're tasked with the challenge of navigating both ends of the issue in the criminal justice system. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenge with that, especially now when we see protests and demonstrations against police brutality?
I became a probation officer because of that reason, because I wanted to see more, I want to see less brothers and sisters of color, Black and Hispanic, come through the criminal justice system. And I feel that playing that role, trying to get, like I said before, giving them another chance, giving them options in life, showing that there's other places, there's other choices that they can make better choices. Sometimes a lot of times we have people who come through the system that has no trust in the system. So what a probation officer has to do is now build that trust, build a relationship between individuals. And what we do is we encourage them by telling them that we believe in you, that we know that you can do that. We have had people, when I was a supervisor in family court, I had a kid that wanted to be a filled with blood. I can't even say the word.
Yeah, I don't know. Hemoglobin?
Something with blood. There's more to them than just being a construction worker or a barbershop, or they have so many talents. So what we do is we tap into those talents. We figure out with their help as a youth and as an adult, we create supervision plans. And what we do is we design these supervision plans based on the individual's needs, not because of what we're telling them that is what they should do. We give them a voice, right? We give the families a voice. It's like a circle of care. That's what we call it, circle of care. Everybody has a voice. We create these plans, and we design this plan based on their needs. And then we do a checkoff as each need is accomplished. If there's some issues along the way, then the probation officers will adjust it accordingly. But the beauty of probation is that while helping the individuals change their life or make better choices, we also hold them accountable for what they do, right? While keeping the community safe, because our primary concern is community safety. So that's what officers do. There's a whole lot of things that probation officers do. When they think about probation, they only think about the supervision component, which is both in family court and adult. But then we have in family court and adult, we have the beginning part, the entry level, which is the intake part, which is officers who in family court and adult, they conduct intakes. There's probation officers who does investigation reports before they even get to the supervision component. There's so many, people don't even know that probation officers deal with child support cases and PENS petitions. And when we had raised the age, we got a system now where kids are constantly being interviewed to keep them out of the system in our intake and our adjustment units. And we have night court, we have evening court, we have probation officers who works in Crossroads. Then in the adult, we have a probation officer that works on Rikers Island that people don't even know about. So it's a constant flow of trying to keep individuals and do everything we can to keep them out of jail.
Right. And Dalvanie, with talking about Rikers Island, the city is talking about releasing more people from there. So is this how does this involve probation, and what is the status of the release of the inmates at Rikers?
So I know there was talks amongst other law enforcement agencies, excuse me, that was not too thrilled about the mayor's decision to release individuals because of the coronavirus. So while that discussion is still going on, the workforce we have received some cases. What happened was there was a number of people who was already being held in Rikers and they were sentenced to probation. So people don't know that probation can also, a person gets sentenced to Rikers for a certain period of time and then serve the rest of their time with probation. So what happened was we accepted some of them earlier so they can be supervised by probation officers, right? To get them off of Rikers, right? And then the other part is that, I'm so sorry. And then the other part is that in efforts to reduce the people who are detained on Rikers. And then the other component is that then there was people who we're helping Department of Corrections with and getting them off of Rikers Island, and they've been referred to us. So now the probation officers are now monitoring those people that's been released from Rikers.
And how have your members been trained to work with these released from Rikers? What does this involve?
So they had to go through a training of because they do electronic monitoring. So part of electronic monitoring, you have to put the bracing on them. So they received some training because with the coronavirus, we couldn't do it in the office. So they've been trained to do the electronic monitoring to monitor those individuals. But when they monitor the individuals from Rikers, it's a partnership with corrections and probation. Right. So.
And how have your jobs changed as a result of the pandemic?
I'll tell you the truth. First of all, probation never stops. We never stop doing our work. We do our work differently. Actually, the pandemic probably has made our job more dangerous, but that has not stopped us from doing our work, right? So instead of having probationists coming into the office and visiting them the traditional way, the probationers are now, my members are doing telecommunications, interviews with the, like we were doing now with the Zoom and different kind of ways with the telephones. They're still out there in the field making home visits, but they're practicing social distancing. So probation has never stopped. It's just that the way we do it, they can't come into the office like they used to for obvious reasons. So.
And what are some of the challenges with establishing that trust with the community, especially through, the way people feel outraged about police brutality and everything like that going on?
Feeling the trust. Like I said, probation officers have our primary, in order to get them to understand that we believe in them, that we know they can change, that trust has to be built. And because of what's going on now with the protesting as a result of the death of Floyd, we have to try to strike a balance. And just saying that we are calling for a calm and peace and yes, change, but is that enough, right? We want to make sure that everybody in our city, the country, and the world is at peace, and that we cannot be judged by the color of our skin or our beliefs. That we should only be. You can't look at me and say because I'm a person of color gives you the right to treat us any differently, right? Nobody should be treated differently. It troubles me when it hurts me to my heart when I witnessed how Mr. Floyd had died. I understand also that my brothers and sisters in uniform is going through a great deal of anti-law enforcement. So because of that anti-law enforcement mentality, I'm concerned about my members' safety because they're still out there. So I pray and hope that they're kept safe and that they've been trained well enough to know what to do, what not to do, and discern when and not to enter certain situations. But my members' safety is my primary concern. And like I said, being a mother of a Black male, on the personal note, that's another concern of mine, right? Because I don't want him to ever have to deal with this. And I'm praying that, but he's 16 going on 17 years old. So every time he walks out that door, I got to be concerned about how he's going to be viewed, right? So
absolutely, there's that humanistic value to this, and how we all have to band together to protect each other. I wanted to ask you about how many probation officers are there in New York, and I also heard that there are a lot of minority and Black parole officers. It's a big percentage.
Probation officers.
Oh, my bad. Probation. See, I got confused too.
It's okay. No, we have over 800 probation officers in New York City. Because then there's like 62 counties and we're 5 of them, 57 more out there, right? But in New York City, I'm the president of over 800 probation officers, which are predominantly females and females of color. So yeah, we got more females. We got about 78%, 80% females, Black and Hispanic.
And I wanted to go back to how probation officers and the United Probation Officers Association is doing, how they're doing to assist the people that need your assistance maintaining their health through the COVID-19 pandemic. Can you tell me a little bit about that too?
As far as probation officers or the clients themselves?
The clients.
I don't know. I mean, with the probation, like I said, we're not having any contact with them directly, but what the probation officers do before they even go to the homes, they ask them, have they been tested, and if they're positive, then they don't make them home visits, and they give them the proper guidance and where to go, give them information, where they need to go to get themselves tested and their families. But as far as probation officers, the union has been giving out PPE to our members, and we gave it out phases 1, 2, and we're getting ready to give out phase 3, where we got them customized masks made, and the department has helped us in getting the PPEs out, and the department has also made an announcement that face masks and gloves are readily available for the probation officers if they should ask for it.
Right. Is there anything that probation officers need besides all of that? What else needs to happen in order to protect you and the probation officers?
What you mean, from the COVID, or from just everything?
From everything, really.
We need everything. Right now, overall, we need to have what I've been asking for too when we start, because like I said, we never stop. So when we go into the next phase, as we start to open up more, I guess, I even asked City Council for like plexiglass. So when they go into the office, they make sure they have the plexiglass. We need bigger vehicles because we got small cars. So, since we all law enforcement, we need like SUVs, bigger cars, so we can practice safe distancing. PPE is an absolute must. And I would like to see a combination of old school and new school in the way we do probation. That would be ideal, which I believe the department is looking at now.
Dalvanie Powell, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your time speaking to us about probation officers, especially here in New York City.
Thank you so much.
Folks, for more information, you can visit unitedprobation.com. Open BXRx will be right back.